Thank you to everyone for attending today's Lunch and Learn session, where we will be discussing Gentu. Genie Solutions have recently started a regular Lunch and Learn program. These are free webinars to help educate our customers on core topics of interest. We hope you find value in today's session. My name is Sean, and I'm a customer success specialist in Brisbane. I have been with Genie Solutions for 11 years. If you have any questions during the session, please pop them into the Q&A box, and I will do my best to answer them at the end. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land in which we meet today. From Brisbane, where I am today, this is home of the Turrbal and the Yagara people. I would like to pay my respects to elders, past, present, and emerging. There are a few topics we are covering as part of today's webinar. First, I'll give you a snapshot of Gentu and some of the key benefits of the product. Next, I'll run through a couple of myths about the cloud. Then I'm going to give you a demonstration of Gentu and give you a peek on how this looks on your mobile phone. Following this, I'll talk you through what's involved with migrating from Genie to Gentu. And finally, if you find Gentu is of interest, what should you do next? As you probably know, Gentu is our cloud-based practice management system. A misconception is that it is Genie in the cloud. Gentu is actually built from the ground up, and it is a different experience to Genie. With cloud-based software becoming more and more common in all industries, we are getting more demand from our Genie base to move to the cloud. With this demand, we have seen Gentu grow substantially over the years. And whilst it started small in 2017, we now have over 1,350 practices on Gentu with regular positive feedback. Whilst we do see cloud as the future of patient management, we are not retiring Genie, and we still have dedicated development teams continuing to work on new features and improvements to Genie. I also want to give you a snapshot on which specialists are currently using Gentu the most. The use is pretty widespread across various specialties, with the top 5 specialties based on obstetrics and gynecology, orthopedic surgeries, general surgery, psychiatry, and plastic surgery. I want to talk next about some of the key reasons you may want to move from Genie to Gentu. This list isn't going to be able to cover every circumstance you may have, as for those of you on this call, your needs may be different. Gentu is a cloud-based, which means all you need to access it is a web browser, your device, and the internet. Use it from any device, from a desktop, a laptop, an iPad or a tablet, or your mobile phone, to check your appointment diary on the go, and you can then move seamlessly back to your practice to check it there. When using Gentu, it is a smooth experience. We employ people in what they call UX, user experience, where their role is to ensure that the software is intuitive. This results in Gentu being very user-friendly, which is very common user feedback. Gentu offers month-to-month contracts. We understand doctors, admin staff, and allied health providers have all got different needs for their practice management software, so we have different pricing for each of these roles. There is no middleware, which means no separate applications are required to download your results and letters. This significantly improves performance and reliability. I'm not going to ask for a show of hands, but I'm sure most of you on this call will know that Genie requires servers, ongoing IT maintenance, and regular upgrades, just to stay up to date. With Gentu, the only hardware you need to worry about is the device you will use it on, such as your laptop, which means no more expensive ongoing maintenance costs. You may still need an IT company, but it won't be for Gentu. Updates in Gentu are also done automatically with no action needed for you. This means when our product team release a new feature or a fee schedule update, your practice receives these updates as soon as they are released. We know some of you may have concerns or preconceptions about the cloud. We're going to talk through a couple of these common myths or questions we receive when it comes to cloud technology. When moving from a desktop program that uses local servers to cloud software that's hosted remotely, we know it can be a little confusing and daunting to make that move. We'd like to assure you we take every precaution possible to ensure Gentu is safe and secure. All Gentu data is stored and managed by Genie Solutions. We control how it's stored and who accesses it. All practice and patient data is hosted onshore in Australia with Amazon Web Services. They are a trusted provider of cloud hosting. Another common concern practices have is the reliability of using a cloud-based product. Gentu is a very reliable interface. In the past 6 months, it has been available for our users for 99.996% of the time, meaning they have been able to access Gentu from their web browser almost 100% of the time. What that means for you is as long as you have a stable internet connection, you should be expecting Gentu to be there for you in your practice whenever you need it. As I had mentioned earlier, Gentu doesn't require any manual software updates, which means if you wanted to perform an update, there is no downtime required. Let's have a look at the Gentu program. I'm going to showcase some key features. If you wanted to have another look at Gentu after this presentation, our sales team would be happy to discuss it with you and possibly offer a complimentary demonstration. I will have their contact details available at the end. When you first load Gentu, it takes you to this page that I can see here, which is called the My Day page. The My Day page is comprised of 2 sections. It has the to-do section at the top left over here and the recall section. The to-do is your replacement of tasks in Genie. Our navigation of Gentu is using these icons on the left-hand side. If I click on this icon here, this takes me to the appointment diary. If I click on this icon, this takes me to a list of all my patients in the system. That's your same as going open patients in Genie. If I click on this icon, this takes me to a section that's comprised of 4 sections. Incoming pathology and radiology. A look at all the pathology and radiology requests you have made. Incoming correspondence, which is the equivalent of going open incoming letters in Genie. And outgoing correspondence, which is the equivalent of going open outgoing correspondence. If I click on this button, this is your address book of all the external doctors that exist in your database, including GPs and other specialists. This button takes me to the reports section, which goes through all the different reports that you may need as part of using Gentu. Our final button on the left-hand side is a one-stop shop for all of your settings. In Genie, there are different settings in different parts of the program. We have them all available in the one screen. I'm going to show you some basics of the appointment diary. It's very similar to Genie, that we've got a single day view, but there's a difference between Genie and Gentu being this week button over here. Now, this week will show you appointments for the week. In Genie, it will only show you from 7 days from the day you are on, or maybe 5 days. Just out of convenience, I've got the same patient repeating every single day in the morning. I go back to day, and that takes me back to the single day view. Navigation through different days in the diary is used by just either clicking on a day or using a drop-down menu or the arrows over here. Just like Genie, we've got a today button, which will take me back to today. If I wanted to add a brand new patient from the appointment diary, I can do so by clicking once on the time I wish to offer. For instance, I'm going to click on this 8:30 time slot over here. We start by typing in the surname. I'm going to type in Thompson. You will see that I found no suggested patients. If I press the tab key on my keyboard, I can put in the first name of the patient. I can put in the last name. I can just type in their date of birth. And I can put in their mobile phone number. I can put in the reason why they're coming in. They might be a new patient. They might be a review patient. I'm going to be putting in that this is an allied health patient. And any optional notes. This is very similar workflow as to what you might have in Genie. I choose save. That puts a brand new patient into the diary for this time. If I wanted to be booking in an existing patient, for instance, this 12 o'clock time slot, I'm going to be clicking once, and I'm going to be typing in the patient's surname. So I'm going to be typing in a couple of letters of the surname. There is a suggested patient that comes up. It also flags that there is a future appointment coming up as well at the top. Again, I get to choose what the reason is the patient's coming in. I'm going to choose a post-op appointment here. And I'm going to be choosing save. If I click on any of these patients, that gives me the ability to make changes to the appointment. So very similar to window when I added a new appointment, but this time I can change a few other things if I needed to. I'm going to be talking about this appointment status over here. So very similar to Genie, you've got some of the same options that you have in Genie. For instance, the waiting room. If I choose in waiting room, you will notice there's some inspiration from Genie that there's a little coffee cup icon that has appeared next to the patient. If I wanted to move an appointment, there's similarities to how it works in Genie as well, that I can simply just click and drag the appointment up and down, and that moves it on the same day. I showed you the weekly view earlier. I can easily click and drag the appointment from one day of the week to another day of the week to move the appointment. I'm going to choose confirm. Something I really like to show practices that are onboarding with Gentu is the redesigned waiting list. So for instance, if I were to be booking in Barry Thompson at the bottom over here for an appointment, but Barry says, can I please be put on the waiting list? We have a wait list button at the bottom over here. So this means that if a cancellation comes up, we can easily book in this patient from the waiting list. Now, we can say how urgent this patient needs to be on the waiting list and what days they're available, and any optional notes. If I choose save, that puts Barry in for that appointment at that time. So for instance, if I've got a patient who cancels their time, I'm going to, for instance, select this appointment over here at 12:15. I get the appointment, the option to select a patient from the wait list, and I get to see all the patients who are available, including their available days and any optional notes. I could simply click on one of them, and the screen then confirms, do I want to move this patient from their previously committed time to the time I wish to book in? I'm just going to choose cancel out of convenience here. You can also proactively look at the waiting list. At the top, there's a 3-dot icon over here. If I click on this 3-dot icon, you'll see that there's an option for waitlist. I choose waitlist, and I can proactively see who's on the waitlist here as well. There are some differences when it comes to using Gentu for viewing the patient's demographic information, viewing their clinical file, and their account histories. As you know, it's in Genie, they are completely different windows. You've got the blue person on the left-hand side for the demographic window. You've got the stethoscope for the clinical file, and you often have to go to the billing menu and the account history option to view their account history. Something that's been redesigned as part of using Gentu is this idea of a consolidated patient record that has everything. So I'm going to choose Ida Ackfield here at 9 a.m. This button takes me to the patient record. So when I choose Ida, I have several options that appear. You'll see at the top, where I've got highlighted at the moment, is the patient summary. It is then split into different sections. When I choose the patient details section, this is who they are and their contact details, where they live, Medicare and health fund information, any information about the referrals, any people involved in the care of the patient. For those of you that do work cover claims, we have a third-party claim section and their emergency contacts. If I scroll up the page, you will see that there's the clinical file. And this has everything to do with the patient from a clinical perspective. There's a lot of inspiration from Genie in this window. I'm going to point out that there's an add button at the top over here. This gets me the option of doing several options. I'm going to choose the option for a consultation note. There's a big difference between Genie and Gentu when it comes to the consultation note. For the doctors and clinical staff that are on this call at the moment, you will know it's split into the reason why the patient's coming in, then history, examination, treatment plan, and diagnosis. Something that's changed completely in Gentu is the fact you're not limited by those boxes. You can have your own boxes. So we start for the reason for encounter, which is why the patient is coming in, For instance, they might be coming in for a fracture. Then what I've got on my screen at the moment are 4 boxes: history, examination, any medications, and the plan. But you'll notice that at the top right, there is a cogwheel. The beauty behind this cogwheel is now I can make my own boxes. So for instance, if I want to click on plus for text field, and I want to put in something, for instance, prior treatments, I type it in, I hit the tick, and now I get a prior treatments box, which you can see at the bottom. I can click and drag to change the order. So now you see prior treatments is here. I can also change the size of each of these boxes if I wanted to. So just like Genie, I can type something in. And just like Genie, you aren't required to type everything into each of these boxes. For those of you super users in Genie who know what the macros function is, we have something very similar. It is called the text shortcuts function and does exactly the same thing. If I choose save, you'll see that I've got a brand new consultation note in the clinical file with the same notes that I had. Another big difference between Genie and Gentu is when viewing the consult notes or adding a consult note, I click on this button to open the consult notes. When I type a consultation note, and also in Gentu, when I type a letter, I can just simply scroll down and I get the full patient's clinical file underneath. I can then scroll up and I can continue to make changes to the clinical file as I need. For a lot of our practices, they find that this is a killer function and they really, really like it. I'm just going to choose cancel out of convenience here. On the right-hand side, we've got some inspiration from Genie as well. Patient notes is any demographic information you wish to be reminded about when the patient presents. For those of you that take height, weight, and blood pressures, it is here as well as the option to automatically calculate BMI. Any allergies and adverse reactions. A combination medications box, which covers any current medications the patient might be on that you are the prescriber for, or maybe what was prescribed outside of your practice. Any current medical issues you wish to note, being current issues in dark writing or in light writing, past issues, and also if they've had a past procedure you wish to document. I like to show practices the medications and just how easy that is to prescribe in Gentu. I'm going to do this by clicking the plus button at the top over here. It is asking me to search for a medication. I'm going to search for instance, Keflex, which is otherwise known by the generic name cephalexin. I get the option of choosing which variant of Keflex or cephalexin I wish to use. For those of you that know authority streamline codes, you'll see that the streamline codes appear as well. So I'm going to choose this one over here. I have to choose and confirm this is the streamline code I wish to use by hitting the tick. What is the dose? So it might be 1 tablet, frequency might be daily, and additional instructions might be as directed. If I choose the prescribe button, all you need to do is ensure that you've got computer-generated PBS paper in your script tray. I choose prescribe, and the document then appears, and that is how you do an electronic script in the Gentu program. All the practitioner needs to do is sign the script. Just out of convenience, I'm just going to choose cancel here, and you'll see cephalexin appears in my list with a printer. That's how I know I prescribed it, whereas perindoprol does not appear with a printer. That means somebody outside of the practice prescribed this medication. Something that is unique to Gentu that's not available in the Genie program either is the ability to make a note on any item in the clinical file. So for instance, I want to point out that there is a knee replacement here. You will see that this has got a procedure icon, and you can see it's a picture of a knee replacement. Any item, this includes your pathology, radiology results, letters coming in from other doctors, any item has got this page icon over here for a note. So for instance, I can type in a TKR, left TKR, and you'll see in addition to what my title was over here, I can put in any optional notes about the item that I've just done. A lot of our doctors really like this function because if an incoming letter comes in from the GP, they just want a quick summary about what was it that this letter had mentioned. They don't want to have a look through the allergies, the medications. They just want a quick 1-word or 2-word summary to know what they're treating the patient for. This is a fantastic function in the Gentu program. I'm next going to show you how to create an invoice in Gentu. This is a big difference between Genie and Gentu. So remember how I showed you at the beginning, there is an add button over here. We have quite a few options over here in this add button. If I choose the appointment diary, I'm going to point out that when I choose a patient, I have exactly that same add button as before with quite a few things available there. I'm going to point out that there's an invoice option. The invoice pre-populates. It automatically comes up with who the provider was, as your provider number, information about the referral. Similar to Genie is the fact that there is an account type. When we choose self, that means the patient is paying for this one privately. We get a few different options here. So if I choose self, patient's paying privately. Bulk bill means that we're bulk billing this patient. Health fund is something I really like to talk about for those Genie users who use the Eclipse system. In Genie, you'd be aware that you've got to click one type of invoice to be able to create an invoice for a private patient paying privately, for a bulk bill, or a DVA invoice. But you'll be very familiar with the Eclipse IMC invoice wizard if you wanted to send it through the Eclipse system. This is where Gentu is absolutely fantastic. The invoicing window that I have over here is an all-in-one invoicing window that covers every single situation. So it covers your private paying patients, your bulk bill, your Eclipse invoices. It's an all-in-one window. And we have the option for DVA as well. I'm going to choose bulk bill. If I choose the option to search for an item number and I type in a 104, you will see that the item number comes up automatically along with the right data service, as well as the fee and the estimated rebate. You may remember at the beginning, I mentioned that advantage of Gentu is that we automatically do your fee schedules update for you. So it looks at the data service and will bring in the right fee. Now, just to demonstrate this, I'm going to change the data service to be 2 years ago. You will notice that the fee has changed. So it will actually charge the right fee for your bulk bill, DVA, and inpatient claims through the Eclipse system. They'll charge the right fee based on the data service. A lot of practices really like that. Another big difference between Genie and Gentu is the fact that when you create a bulk bill or DVA invoice, you'll be aware that you have to, at the end of the day, end of the week, go to the maintenance reports window, daily bulk bill DVA transmission, and send a new batch. When it comes to Gentu, when you click this batch button, which I'm going to do so, my apologies, I should have changed that back to be the right service date. When I choose batch, what happens is that we automatically batch this for you at 10 o'clock at night, as well as any other eligible patients that should have been batched. So you don't have to create a new bulk bill or DVA batch. At the end of the day, we take care of that for you. It's probably a good opportunity for me to show you in the report section next that we do have this claims control section here. This is your all-in-one window for all your bulk bill, your DVA, and your Eclipse claims. We automatically batch bulk bill and DVA claims for you at 10 o'clock at night. We will automatically retrieve those reports for you for bulk bill, DVA, and Eclipse. So that means you don't have to get your report statuses, you're processing your reports, your remittance advices. We automatically see if a claim has been paid, and we'll automatically receipt the claim for you if it needs to be receipted. What this means for you, and this is fantastic, is the only thing you need to do is create the invoice, make sure you click that batch button, and handle any exceptions. A lot of practices really like Gentu for this very reason, that we take care of most of the hard work for you, leaving you just to create the invoice and deal with the exception. So as I've mentioned, that was a quick run through in terms of how Gentu looks. There is, of course, much more to the program than that. If you are interested in seeing more of the program, our sales team would be more than happy to offer you a complimentary demonstration, and they would be happy to take you through the rest. Next, I'm going to just give you a sneak peek in terms of how to use Gentu on your mobile phone and how to upload an image. This is a killer function our practices really like. Here's an appointment in the diary for Ida Ackfield at 9 o'clock. I'm going to click on Ida at 9 o'clock. Remember, this is from my mobile phone right now. Ida's appointment record appears with some options to edit the appointment. I'm going to click on the turquoise add button at the top right. From here, I can do a few functions. Let's choose attachment. I have the option to choose a file. The beauty of Gentu comes here. I can either choose photo library or choose files, which will look on my phone for a document or image I've previously saved. For some of those doctors on the call who take photos on your phone and it stays on your phone, this is a killer function for you. The thing I really like to point out is take photo or video. This then will use the inbuilt camera in your device to capture a new image. Here I am capturing an image of a recent knee surgery. It is confirming whether I want to use the picture or I can retake it. The magnificent part of this workflow, the image does not belong on your phone. It will capture the image and upload it directly into Gentu. This means no patient information is stored on your phone. I have the option of changing the file name as well as the category. I'm going to change the file name to be a knee replacement. Unique to Gentu is the category option, where you can choose which part of the patient's clinical record it should show. Those of you using Genie will know the attachment will come up with a paperclip when viewed in the clinical file. In Gentu, you get to choose a category, which means it belongs alongside other items at category. So by choosing procedure, it will appear in the procedure section of the clinical file. If you choose a category as being correspondence, it will appear alongside your incoming and outgoing letters. Here you can see the patient's clinical file with the knee replacement photos showing with the scissors icon beside it. This means it is a procedure. And it will show when you click the procedure icon in the contact list as well. If you're looking at getting more out of Gentu for your practice, we offer advanced extras, which are designed to boost practice efficiency. The advanced extras products I'm about to show you are available in Gentu only. Patient payments powered by Easy Debit is a seamless and secure end-to-end payment solution for your practice. A patient can be sent a link by email for their pre-surgery deposit or an outstanding invoice. They click this link and they can pay by credit card. This will automatically receipt in Gentu, saving your practice the need to check bank statements to work out who to receipt. An integrated FPOS terminal allows you to take card payments in a seamless fashion, and it ensures the right amount is charged. If clinical staff are spending significant time after hours to catch up on documentation like letters, or you have external typists, you might benefit from Voice. Voice is a mobile app which lets you dictate directly into your Gentu letters, enabling a more efficient process for your practice and reducing the time you need to spend catching up on sending your letters. The audio recording is also saved, which is fantastic. So anyone can listen to the dictation again if required to proofread. We have some videos of Voice in action on our website if you'd like to find out more. For some of those on this call, you may like Genie and are just curious about Gentu. I want to let you know there's no rush with migrating from Genie to Gentu. As I've mentioned before, Genie continues to receive development. If you did want to migrate, however, from Genie to Gentu, I'm going to show you the process. After you inquire, our sales team will help you find out if Gentu is right for you through a product discovery consultation and a demonstration. If you decide to move forward, you'll be working with a Migration Center of Excellence team. They will perform a trial conversion, which is like a dummy run. This is a vital step of the process. This is your chance to get a preview of your data in Gentu and start planning for the changeover. You continue to work as normal. When everyone is ready to proceed, our team will arrange for the final data collection and final conversion of Gentu. When your Gentu database goes live, you'll be in the very capable hands of our experienced training team, whose job it is to ensure we deliver training tailored to your practice and your own individual needs.